Oh my goodness. Cannot stand springtime because with springtime comes allergies. Like my eyes right now are about half shut and they're watering and my nose is running and I sound congested, but I'm not sick, I promise. It sucks. I hate the spring. I hate it so much. But welcome to Across the Pond, this podcast. This is a podcast where I get to speak to people from all around the globe. And it's really cool, man, if I do say so myself. I'm the host, so of course I think that's cool. But I've had an overwhelming response from a lot of people saying this is really neat, please keep doing it. So I'm going to keep doing it. Today I get to speak to Brenden. He is a really, really cool guy currently residing in South Africa. He helps me to learn a little bit about South Africa and how it's not indigenous, I think is how you say it, like I thought it was. I'm just very ill-informed about Africa in general, so my apologies. Brendan's a really cool guy. We just go off a little bit about YouTube culture, and we go off a little bit about just people in general, and this was a fun time. I enjoyed this one. Towards the end of the episode, after Brenden and I say goodbye, there's a little special thing for everyone listening. So if you're a listener, stay to the end. That's all I gotta say.
Hi.
Hi there. How are you? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm doing well, and you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Are you in South Africa? Yeah.
Yes, I am.
And you're awake at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I was just kind of curious because I didn't get the notification that you even set up a time until honestly like 15 minutes ago, which is totally fine. I'm okay with that. I have time and stuff. But I was like, wait, if he's in South Africa, then isn't it like super late for him or super early in the morning? I was like, oh shoot, it's 3 o'clock. Maybe he like filled it out wrong or something, or like wasn't sure. But hey, I mean, if it works, it works.
No, I did it on purpose like that. I'll be honest with you. I completely, until I got the email, I completely forgot that I filled in the form for this. And then I got the email, I was like, oh yeah, this is a thing that I said I was going to do. And I saw the first date was today, and it's like, okay, I'm going to do it and get it done. No, otherwise I'm going to forget about it.
I get that. It's kind of funny because, well, I shouldn't say it's kind of funny. It's kind of unfortunate. But what happened is when I put out the form on Reddit, right, I put it in the podcasting subreddit or whatever it was. And for the longest time, it was okay. And then all of a sudden, one of the mods is like, hey, I'm going to remove this because it's self-promotion. I was like, I really don't think it's self-promotion because I've literally copy and pasted the same wall of text before on the same subreddit and everything was fine and it got really good traction compared to what that subreddit normally gets. And I was like, hey, this works. But you were, I guess, one of the lucky people to see it before I got taken down. So thank you. But I am sorry that I did email you about, I think it was like a couple weeks later than after you filled it out because I was actually still trying to finish up a round of people. That sounds really bad, but hear me out. I was just trying to finish the like group that filled it out before I started to go into the next one, and I didn't realize how many I had left when I put it out, so it's kind of my fault, but thanks anyways for doing this. It's super cool of you.
It's all good, man.
Sweet. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm awake at 3 a.m., so I'm a university student. I'm third year now. I'm studying IT.
Nice.
Programming, all that good stuff. I write very badly, but I write and post that shit on Reddit.
Okay.
I just got back into streaming. I stopped a few months ago because I'm lazy. I'll be honest.
I feel that.
But I'm getting back into it. I'm an editor for a YouTube guy that's close to 100K subs.
Oh shoot! Nice.
I'm going to start doing YouTube myself, and I've hosted a podcast with absolutely no listeners. That's the gist of the things that I do.
Wow. I mean, if I'm being honest with you, brother, for you to be an editor for someone on YouTube that has 100,000 subs, that's close to it.
It's like 96K now.
Yeah, that's very impressive because, I mean, here's the thing. You're the editor, so you're making the videos. So if he's gaining subs based off of the videos that you're making, you must be pretty good at that stuff.
I accidentally gave myself a cult following on his channel actually, because I don't know if you watch Markiplier's videos.
I do. Well, let's just say if I see one that interests me, like for example, I watched one where he tried different MREs from around the world, but it's not like I religiously watch him.
You know, now I'm more or less the same. Have you seen how his editor pops in here and there with like small text stuff and stuff like that?
I can't say that I have, but I think I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
In essence, through the video, I just give my own commentary and like small text. It's like it's small text in the bottom right corner that just pops up where I just say my piece. Usually,
Mm.
just trying to make jokes, and the editor character has now gotten a bit of a cult following on his channel.
Nice, dude. Nice. When did you start
Yeah,
editing for
that's
this guy?
it's a month and a half ago, if I had to guess. I don't remember the exact date. I can check, but it's been like a month and a half. I can actually check when the first video I made for him went live.
Sure.
1 second.
Yeah, no, sure. Because it's really neat because I've never met someone who is able to edit videos well enough to be able to be an editor. Excuse me, an editor. There we go. For a decent sized YouTuber. Not to mention someone who's got almost 100K. Because a lot of people nowadays, they're like, oh, it's only 100,000. It's like, show me your channel with 100,000 views. That's very impressive. Not to mention if he's pulling a good number of views every video.
Yeah, no, and I take a bit of pride in this. I think I have a bit of an effect because if I look at it, the videos that I edit seem to do better than the other videos because I'm not the only editor, but I'm the only editor that adds my own flair to it. And and throughout the videos that I make that even are the same as the same style of videos like Truth or Dare, Would You Rather, reaction videos.
Mm-hmm.
The videos that I edit seem to get more views than the other ones of its kind. The most viewed video that I made for him so far has almost 200,000 views.
Wow, I am actually dumbfounded right now. I'm talking to celebrities right now. Like, let's be honest, bro.
I know.
So, because I'm curious and for sake of any sort of contract or something, would you be able to tell me, and you don't have to say numbers or anything, but would you be able to tell me just kind of like how, first of all, do you get paid to do that?
Yeah, I do.
Can you maybe shed a little bit of light to me, like do you get paid per video, or do you get paid like a salary, or like how does that work?
For now, because the guy doesn't make enough from his YouTube channel to pay an editor a salary, if that makes sense. So I make money per video, and it varies a bit based on how long the video is and how much effort the video would have taken. And I just checked, the first video I made for him premiered on January 7th. So It's been a bit, it's about a month and a half.
Nice. So then, go ahead, sorry.
I don't make enough to make a living off of it, but I don't have to yet. No, and this is my first gig, so it's a stepping stone to bigger things.
Yeah. Are you a self-taught video editor, or are you kind of someone who? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. When did you start actually like editing videos and stuff and like taking it seriously?
Okay, I made my YouTube channel when I was, I think, 12.
Okay.
There's a whole backstory there. The very first thing that I ever did on the internet was buy Minecraft. When I was 9,
Nice.
in 2009, I'm proud. I have a bit of pride in this. I was one of the very earliest people to get the game.
Nice.
And I created my username, which is cringe as fuck, but I refuse to change it. It's the noob 950, so the noob 950.
Okay.
Yeah, and I realize it's super cringe, but I refuse to change it. It's grown too much on me by now.
Yeah.
I made my YouTube channel back then, and then when I was like 14, I decided to try my hand at making videos, and I still remember I couldn't use Fraps because I was on a laptop that was physically too bad. So I was too stupid to think of using OBS. Because it was literally too complicated for me back then. So I used I can't
Bandy recorder? Yeah. Bandicam?
No, it wasn't. It was like the bad version of Fraps. The only thing that I can give it is that it recorded your game audio and your microphone audio as two separate tracks. And easy today. I don't think I'm going to be able to find what this was. But yeah, now I use OBS because I'm not, stupid anymore.
You're not a pleb. You actually are cultured now.
Yeah, I mean OBS. If you know how to, I mean it has a bit of a learning curve, but if you know how to use OBS, it is such a useful piece of software.
It really is. Yeah, I used to stream a little bit and kind of do YouTube here and there, but quit since then. But I'm using actually OBS as of like this very second to record our audio. So.
It's not a bad choice. I to record audio. When we have guests on, I ask them very nicely if they can record their own audio and send it to me because South African internet and it's not the best at times.
Yeah.
So and it does happen every single episode where we have connection issues. No one drops out of the call, but there is lag.
Yeah.
And sometimes people cut out. So and if each of us have our own audio track, then it's at least the audience gets it nice, crisp, clear, good quality shit. So I use a totally legit version of Adobe Premiere. I definitely did not pirate that.
I respect that. That's what I use.
I'm absolutely lying. I did pirate it, but I'm just covering my ass for illegalities.
Nah, I mean I legit right here. I mean, yes, no. Anyway, I know exactly what you mean. The struggles of trying to get into some sort of like content creation early on. It's like you don't have any money, so what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's hard to start, especially because a lot of people say, "Oh, hey, I want to start a podcast," but you don't realize most of the big podcasts out there have at least one person who had a following elsewhere. Like the official podcast, for example, had Critical. Every single podcast, the new hot podcast, Chuckle Sandwich, has Ted Nivison, Slimesicle, and Jay Schlatt. It's like they have these personas behind them that people watch the podcast for. It's hard to build a podcast for yourself just out of nothing.
No, it really is. And like even when I started, I was still kind of streaming at the time when I started this, and I had a lot of the people that were rather oh gosh, what's the word? Rather frequent, I guess, is the best thing that I can think of right now in my community. They're very present. They listen to it, and then since then, numbers and stuff have dropped a little bit. But still doing well. But I know what you mean, that it's hard to start something when you don't have a following. It's almost impossible because you have to be on top of your game all the time. You can't slip at all. You have to make sure. You have to make sure that you're marketing yourself the right way. You have to somehow figure out a way to promote yourself without self-promoting in other people's areas. Best way to say it. So it's a rough process. It's really hard, and it takes a lot of work too.
Yeah. By the way, I just found it. It's DX Story. The thing I used to record with way back in the day. It's DXTORY. It was such a piece of shit.
DX
but DXTORY, DX Story. The moment I saw that, I got like a flood of memories of just how much of a piece of garbage it was. But it did the job. I made a few YouTube videos that has since been deleted, and I regret deleting them because cringe shit is fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I got my start. I didn't even think of streaming because honestly, until a year ago, I could not. Like with the technology at hand, streaming was impossible.
Well, here's the thing, and I mean, you're an editor, so I would assume that you talk to the person that you edit for quite a lot, and they might have said this before, but if you're starting out and you don't have much of a following, streaming is probably one of the dumbest things you can do because it's so hard to get recognized. It would almost be easier to start, making TikToks or something, or start, with some sort of YouTube presence, or try and do YouTube, or even if you are good with social media, doing Twitter or something like that. Like streaming is one of the hardest things to do, especially if you use Twitch or whatever platform you use. For the most part, you're just never going to get recognized because of the algorithm, because it's not like YouTube to where it will throw your video up when you're offline. To get recognized on Twitch, you have to be live. You can't just play reruns and stuff, because reruns don't get thrown up as recommended. So it sucks. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Get it. I have, in my time of streaming, I managed to get 2 people, two regulars in my chat, which is
Nice.
something. And I mean, here's the thing. I mean, it is the dream to be a successful streamer or YouTuber or creative content creator that you can make a living off of your creative work.
Yeah.
But it's not the primary reason why I do it. It would be cool as shit if it happens, but if it doesn't, it doesn't happen. It's why I'm in university, so I can get a degree and get a real job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until then, I just stream because I like it. It's fun.
Yeah, you have the right.
That's the same reason I do all the other stuff.
You have the right head, because a lot of people do. And I was speaking to someone just a little bit ago, and they were talking about how, yeah, like I want to do it because money. And I'm like, I don't think you understand that, like, if you do it for money, people are going to notice that. If you do it because you enjoy memes, or you enjoy the game, or you enjoy making friends, or you enjoy talking with people, like, people that watch your stuff are going to be able to distinguish between that. So it's nice to hear that, someone who is like, yeah, I'm small, but I just do it because I enjoy it. I have fun. I speak to the people that, are in my chat, and I'm, befriending them and everything. That's the way to go. That's the way to do it. Money isn't everything. You have to build an audience somehow. You can't just full on dive into it and expect to make thousands and thousands of dollars. The people that make so much money, or tons and tons of money, like Summit, or even Ninja, or Dr. Lupo, like these big name streamers and stuff, like they've been doing it for years and years, and they've established themselves with whatever it is, like Ninja, super good at Fortnite, and then he played with Drake, and he had huge things happen, and that's why he can do, almost what he wants now. Summit is just an OG, and then you have Shroud, who's just god tier, and then you have Dr. Lupo, who's really good when it comes to charity work. I'm not sure the people that you watch, especially on the other side of the world, because, time zones and stuff, but like the people that are established, they can make money because they've established themselves.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, other side of the world. Fuck, it's a problem. And yeah, but I usually try and at least catch up on like VODs or highlights if I can't see a stream. I'm a huge fan of Critical. It's I don't know. I vibe with his humor a lot.
Yeah.
And the deadpan and and it's the official podcast is one of the things that inspired me and two of my friends to start our own podcast, even if we know it's doomed to fail.
Hey.
It's still fun. It's a fun time,
Yeah.
And it interesting, especially now, it gives us an excuse, a reason to get together at least once a week and have a good laugh, have a chat with each other. So it ensures that I'll talk to those two at least once a week. But we talk a lot more frequently. But it's an established thing now. We've been doing it for a year now, and it's part of the routine now.
Yeah. What is your podcast about?
It's literally just the three of us get together. Sometimes we have a guest, and we just talk shit. We just talk about what happened this week, tell any story that comes to mind, and just talk trash. That's the gist of it.
It sounds kind of funny.
It's a lot of fun. And for the longest time, I have been wanting and trying to get a sex therapist on the podcast because
that was you on Reddit. I saw your post on Reddit, and I was like, who does this guy think he is? And I started laughing to myself. That was you. That's awesome.
I have a very specific reason. In the previous episode, in the episode before I posted that, we talked. I don't know if you heard about this, but do you know what a chastity cage is?
Yes. So
there's a bunch of guys who had electronic chastity cages where like the girl could control it with their phone, and they got hacked. And I'm going to say this very vulgarly, their dicks were held ransom. And that led to a argument, and not judging, but just what's the psychology behind people who enjoy this kind of thing. And that's why I wanted a sex therapist to come on, because one, I think it would be it's the source of this kind of information, and two, I think it would be funny as shit.
Now, that would actually be really interesting to hear a therapist kind of just talk about the ins and the outs of that. Because, I mean, that sounds like I don't think I've ever heard of some sort of hack like that. But it's nuts.
It was the funniest shit to keep up with. There was a guy, and this just made me sad. I only read one news report about this, so I'm not sure if it's true. But I want to believe that it is, because I want to believe that one person was this stupid. There was a guy that after getting his dick held ransom for Bitcoin,
Oh my
got it
gosh.
out, and then put the thing back on, and it happened again.
What an idiot.
It's get worse because he got out and he did it a third time.
Why would you
Allegedly,
do
he got
that?
held 3 times back to
That's
back.
oh my gosh. I mean, I don't understand. Unless that guy is just literally brain dead and he just
I
doesn't
mean,
have a brain.
I'm all for, if you want to explore your kinks, go for it, but don't be a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. That's just stupid because all you're doing is like think about it this way. You're trying to get some sort of short enjoyment for Bitcoin. Like, what? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
So
I
dumb.
don't know what that guy was thinking, but that's one of the reasons. Like, how do you get that deep into it? How do you? I'm sorry, I should have asked this beforehand. How safe for work do you want your podcast to be?
Oh, the thing is like I've always said I don't necessarily care what goes on or like what you say or whatever as long as you don't use things that I will have to blatantly cut out.
Okay, no, so now I just want to know, like, if this topic is okay to discuss. Like, here's the thing, I'm not, if you want to, we all have had thing, a slap on the ass here and there. That's fine. What goes on in your mind to think, okay, I was literally just held ransom. My dick was in a cage. I could not get it out. Okay, I finally got it out. What makes you think to put it back in?
That's just like new level
Like, how
horny. That's
deep
just
do you need to
gross.
be?
It's so
Yeah,
gross. Like I don't
yeah, that
understand how desperate you got to be to do that.
like have fun with what you want to do, but again, don't be that stupid. What were you thinking?
Yeah, that's dumb, man. That's that's so stupid.
It is, and I'm not the person to easily judge people, but I'm judging that
Oh,
guy
I'm
very hard.
yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing. I don't like to judge a lot, but some people, they're literally just asking for it, and that guy is asking for it 100%.
Yeah,
100%. So
but
let me ask you this. You've been talking about how, you got into editing and everything. So I would assume before you got into editing, you were into YouTube and all that stuff. Has that just been something that's always been a part of your life? Or do you remember like finding YouTube or Twitch or whatever you use just one day and you're like, man, I like this? Or like, were you raised on it or what?
I'm definitely not raised on it. You just remember till about five fuck I want to say like 5 years ago, South Africa was always like 10 years behind the technological curve.
Oh, I didn't know
I
that.
got my first phone when I was 7 because my parents divorced and my mom wanted a way for me and my brother to be able to contact her. Um, so we got phones. And it was one of those old green screen, the Nokia 3310s, the bricks.
Yeah.
And that was in June. That Christmas, me and my brother each got a phone. It was still an old Nokia, real old. It didn't even have a headphone jack. It was, looking back, real piece of shit. But it was, a phone's a phone.
Hmm.
And back then, it didn't have any apps. It had like it had Snake, and that was what it was for. It was to call and to play Snake. That was the reasons we had phones. Like back then, I didn't even carry my phone with me when I went around. Only if I knew I would have to call someone would
Hmm.
I have my phone with me. The rest of the time, it was just in my room,
Mm.
doing its thing. I never thought about charging my phone. It was never a thing I had to worry about. That's such a trip to think back on that.
Yeah.
But when it's so when I was, I want to say, yeah, like 9 with family computer, got Minecraft. 11 or 12, I got my own laptop. And here's the thing, I got Minecraft. I had to download it at a friend's who had Wi-Fi because we didn't have Wi-Fi.
Wow.
I downloaded it, put the file, and got the files on my computer, and just played the fuck out of the single-player game. Never updated it for those few years, so I was stuck in like an early version until we got internet.
Whoa.
And when we got internet, it was slow, but I managed to update it, and then I discovered YouTube because I was looking up a tutorial on something probably Minecraft related. I won't lie, and I found a video by Tobuscus, and I
Oh
still
yeah.
I can't find this video. I've tried looking for it, but I still remember the video very clearly. He was singing to the tune of "Eye of the Tiger," chasing, and he was playing some mod pack.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my introduction to YouTube. And that's when I discovered, hey, there's a plethora of gaming content. And I started watching it. And I had to watch it in 240p because our internet wasn't fast enough to watch it any faster. I mean, in any higher quality. And that's when I discovered all this. And then we went up. Our internet went up big time. And by big time, I mean we went from a 1 megabit line to a 4 megabit line.
Mm.
That was what we considered like the absolute shit. Like that was awesome. And then I said, hey, I want to try my hand at this. So, I fired all the up. No, wait. There was I need to get my timeline right, because when I was 13, I used my birthday money to build my very first rig, my very first proper PC.
Oh.
And I think this was right after I turned 13 and not on the laptop. Sorry, the memories are a little bit fuzzy.
No, you're good. No worries. I'm following you.
So I built this rig, and I remember I had blue. The proudest part of the PC was I had blue Corsair Vengeance RAM inside of it. It was that was the coolest thing to me. So I built my very first rig, and that's when I started to try and make YouTube videos. And I had to learn video editing because I didn't know about hotkeys. So I would physically go into the recording program, press start, alt tab into Minecraft, then start doing the thing. Mm-hmm. So I had to get an editing program to at least cut off those bits. And then I learned, I discovered, hey, this thing has potential. And that's when I started learning how to edit. I used Sony Vegas at first. Now I use Adobe Premiere. Mm-hmm. And I learned how to edit. I learned how to create montages, add music, do all the cool effects, fading, fade out, text on screen. And then when I was 17, I finally learned the gospel of Adobe. I got Photoshop. I used Photoshop a few times prior, but then I actually got into Photoshop and into Premiere and Audition and learned how to do these things proper. Mm-hmm. Then I learned how to, move, animate assets around. I'm not an animator by any stretch, but I can at least move a block across the screen now.
Yeah.
And that was my journey of learning. And to how I got this job, it was a complete luck. I was browsing Twitter which I never do. I just went on Twitter because I wanted to check on something. Mm-hmm. I remember I was watching the abridged version of Sword Art Online because it's funny. And I wanted to check, hey, have they tweeted when the next episode will be out? That's that series is one of my guilty pleasures. And I went to their Twitter and I saw they retweeted a tweet from this guy telling them, hey, listen, I'm looking for an editor. I was like, hey, I know how to edit. I can edit. So I talked to the dude. He sent me an audition video. I edited it, and it worked out.
Wow. Congrats. It sounds like you were always into the whole tech thing, though. Like, I never, if I'm being honest, I don't know much about South Africa. I just know that that Cape Town is in South Africa. That's about all I know. I didn't realize that you guys are so far behind, technologically speaking, to where, your internet is dog crap and, you had, old phone, like really old phones when you were young and stuff. Like, I didn't realize that the technology was so far behind. Has that always been a thing? Or is it starting to catch up now?
No, it's starting to catch up by now. Can I ask you something? How fast is your internet?
Right now, I should be getting about 400 megabytes down, I think, and then 10 up because of the way that the stupid person I have to go through does it. But I could, if I really, really wanted to, I could get a gig.
Okay, yeah. So what you're saying is yours is like middle of the pack internet? Would you say that?
Yeah, probably above average, but still around the middle.
No, me and my brother live together, and we have what is basically considered top of the line internet in South Africa, like the best of the best. It's 200 up, 200 down.
Wow, that's really good.
It is good. I'm not complaining for a second, but I see people online complaining that their gigabit internet is only performing at 900 up, 900 down. I'm like, dude, I would kill for that.
Yeah.
Did they not realize how insanely fast? And they're in like bumfuck nowhere. I'm in Cape Town, offshoot of Cape Town, like just outside of Cape Town. So I'm fucking by the biggest city. Yeah. So of course I can get good internet. If we travel inland to where I grew up, in what is the desert, we don't get a good internet over there. You just suffer.
Yeah.
That's what you get. You get suffering.
You get suffering. It's funny to me how people complain about not getting their gigabit internet or whatever it is. Like, and like you said, people complain about getting 900. It's like you legitimately don't need anything more than maybe 50-10. 50 down, 10 up for most things. If you're trying to watch a movie or something like that, yeah, you probably need a little more just to make sure it looks clear and everything. But if you're playing a game, you can have 50 down, 10 up and be fine. Like, a lot of people don't realize that you don't need 900 or even a gig. Like, you don't need that. It's just nice to flex because then you can do more things at once. But if you're just, playing games and you maybe have a video on YouTube or something like that, or like a stream on Twitch going, like, you really don't need that much.
I see. The reason we have this internet is because my brother wants to try to become a full-time Twitch streamer. So
Respect.
he no, I respect it too, and he has a day job too. So it is he's actually
mad respect.
Yeah. So that's why we opted for the good internet, and as a bonus, now I can do it too. When I still lived in my university town, I'm studying long distance now, but when I still lived there, I had a 20 down, 20 up line. Just so you know how expensive internet is, that cost me the 20 down, 20 up cost me about $50 a month.
Wow.
$50 a month.
That's better than mine. I mean, I get what, 400 down, 10 up on average. It probably fluctuates, but I think I pay, and that's contracted, like 80 or 90 a month.
You pay for 400 down. That's an insane amount of down.
Yeah, that is an insane amount of down, but my up's only 10. You got 200, and you're paying 50.
No. 20 down, 20 up.
I'm so sorry. I thought you said 200.
No. We have 200 now. I have no idea what we're paying for it because I'm not the one paying for it. But back in my university town, I had to pay $50 a month for 20 down, 20 up.
Oh, I see now. I totally misheard you. My bad. But I see now.
It's fine.
Wow, that's nuts.
Yeah, it's ridiculously expensive. And we have basically one company that people don't realize it, but they essentially have a monopoly and because they basically own all of the lines. So you're either paying directly to them or you're paying someone who pays them. And another thing that happened recently, and I had one of the most fun conversations about this because, and this is going to sound condescending, and it's really not supposed to be, but I love talking to Americans and foreign people because I usually when I always try and say something ridiculous to see what I can get away with. So far, the most I've gotten away with is, hey, I got to go feed my pet lion.
Your bed lion?
No, my pet lion.
Pet lion? I mean, if I'm being honest, I wouldn't believe you unless if you're living in Dubai.
I mean, we have people here who own lions.
Seriously?
We have well, not in like their backyards. They have like farms for that shit. But yeah, we have people who have lions.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I've been licked by a cheetah.
What?
Yeah, I've been licked by a cheetah.
Like, no cap.
No cap. I have been licked by a cheetah.
That's actually
their
kind of cool.
tongues are very rough. Like it's exactly what you expect it to feel like. It's like a cat, but worse.
Whoa! What other weird thing? Or I shouldn't say weird, but more exotic things have happened to you.
I mean, I've rode a camel.
Well, that's cool.
It is. Sorry, it's weird to try and think of exotic things because for us they're not that exotic.
Yeah.
A deer once ran into me. That was fun.
Nice. Like just full on sprint, like ran into you.
No, it was more like gentle jogging, and it was like a small deer.
Oh, okay.
A springbok. It wasn't. It wasn't like an antelope. That thing would have demolished me.
True. Gorge you.
It was just like basically Bambi, but a little bit bigger. That just kind of bumped into me.
Gotcha.
I've drank milk straight from a cow's udder.
Oh, okay.
I was complicit in. I hate telling this story because it makes me come off so badly. But bear in mind, we were 12, and I wasn't the one with the gun, and it was only an airsoft gun. I was complicit in the shooting of a cow's udder once.
Yikes!
That was fun. It was me and my step cousin. Our birthdays are close together, so we had a shared party, and he just decided he was going to do that for some reason.
Okay, it sounds like a typical 12-year-old thinking mentality, but I'll go with it.
It is. That's exactly what it was. I've been on farms more than I guess a lot of people who don't actively live on a farm have been, because most of my friends lived on farms.
Wait,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask because you're talking about farms and cows and stuff. So when I think of Cape Town, or at least when I think of South Africa, I think of the very typical when I think. Hold on. When you think of Cape Town, right? You think of the like colorful buildings, and you think of everyone out in the streets, dance. Oh, at least I do because I haven't seen too much, but the stuff that I have seen, it just kind of seems like a fun party town. Is Cape Town, or excuse me, is South Africa more just farmland with like a couple towns?
More or less, it's. I don't want to say it's wasteland because it's not, but a lot of it is just wide open spaces with like settlements and cities scattered throughout. I mean, our biggest cities are probably Johannesburg, Pretoria, Bloemfontein, Kimberley, and Cape Town. And then you have smaller cities dispersed throughout, um, and even smaller towns and villages, and yeah, it just gets smaller. And the more you go, the more to the center you go, and honestly, the more you head to Namibia, that's South Africa's Canada, the smaller and more I guess you'd call it redneck the towns get.
Really?
Yeah, I'm original. I was born in Johannesburg, but since I was 6, I grew up in a very small town in like central South Africa. Right in the middle. Where it's basically desert. There's just dust, sand, and sadness.
Dust, sand, and sadness.
You think I'm joking? Like the one thing about that town is that the English once built a fort there. That's it. That's the only interest that that town has.
Hmm.
In like the war that they fought against us and won.
So, and this might sound incredibly, I don't think racist is the right word, but maybe just culturally blind. When I think of the area that you live in, like the more generalized Southern African tip, I don't think of not civilized. I just don't think of very technologically advanced. I think more so of like, maybe you're 30 years behind the more advanced world. And again, this might sound awful, and I'm not trying to sound like that. This is just my perception of that area because I'm, some stupid American living in Seattle, right? But when you're talking about all these towns and stuff, does it feel just like a normal kind of thing, or does it feel more redneck, or does it feel more, like you said, Nambia is kind of like Canada to you guys? Like, does it feel rather
the Canada
advanced?
thing is just the Canada remark is just sorry. It's an inside joke because one of my fellow hosts is from Namibia, and he it's literally just discount South Africa. Their currency, right? They have their own currency. It's ours. It's their currency's definition is it is equal to 1 South African rand. That's like Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah,
that was shot in Namibia just to show you how nothing it is. That is how the entire country looks like.
Oh, so I'm
like,
not
at least
okay.
At least we have like bushes every once in a while. They just have nothing. But yeah, you're not wrong. It depends on which parts of the town you're in. I'm gonna ask you a question. I don't know if this word is okay to use, and I honestly do not care because I think people need to give less power to words. But what do you consider a ghetto part of town looks like?
I don't think that's necessarily a bad word. I thought you were going to use it like a racial slur or something. But when I think of ghetto, I think of more of like a poorer, just more crime-ridden area.
Okay, let me describe to you what our ghettos look like. It is homes built out of whatever you can find around. Those steel roofs that you get, those corrugated roofs.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, they built houses out of corrugated steel, out of mud and shit. That's what our ghettos are like. There's a communal tap. I'm lucky to say that I didn't have to grow up in a part of town like that, and I don't feel good that that's a part of the town that I know. It's not a good place to be, And the farther you go, the more run down the buildings get, and the more makeshift they get.
So it's like a very is it a very clear distinction in your area between the very, very poor people and the very wealthy people, or at least the people that might be considered like middle class?
Well, the class is a weird thing here because we basically have very poor, poor, rich and very rich. There isn't really exactly a
Oh,
middle
wow.
class. But I mean, here's the poor and the rich. It's hard to tell the difference sometimes because, for me, example, we had a big house, but it's we had we're s- we my dad divorced and married a woman who had kids, so we were a big family. We
Yeah.
needed a big house, so
Hmm.
that was justified. And so, from an outsider's perspective, it is hey, this is my house. You'd be like, oh, well, that's a pretty big house. No, it's just kind of we needed the big house. We didn't really
Hmm.
have a choice. It's
Gotcha.
it's like we could all share rooms until we were in like 18.
Gotcha. So then
It's
is, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, so it is difficult to just judge from an outside perspective how wealthy someone is. I'm not saying that me or my family is poor, but I don't think for at least for when I was growing up, we weren't rich by any means. We were
Mm.
just a big family, so we had to buy like a big car to fit everyone. We actually had a combi, like a mini bus,
Mm. Interesting.
just so we can fit everyone.
So then, is the economic situation down there kind of scuffed, or does it seem like things are running somewhat well, and your money is somewhat strong, or is it? Do you see what I'm
It
trying to
is
ask?
it is scuffed in every single way possible. The exchange rate is now at a high it has not been in a long time. I think it's 14 to 1, like 14.5 to 1 against the
Mm.
US dollar.
Wow.
So we get fucked a little bit with that. Yeah, 1 rand is exactly 7 cents according to
Okay.
DuckDuckGo over here. So
Wait. So your currency is called a rand, like RAND?
yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah, it's difficult. But it's only difficult if you compare it to the outside world. Like in an isolated system, except for the fact that the government steals every single fucking cent they can get their hands on, the economy isn't that bad. Things seem to be more expensive but that's because we need to compare it at an increased exchange rate. So an American comes here and is like, oh, wow, everything is so cheap. We go to America and everything is extremely expensive. Like,
Yeah.
my dad went on my dad and my stepmom went on vacation to Italy a few years back, and they just said, never again. Like,
Mm.
it was a great experience, but it was like you could pay for like a entire month's vacation what they paid for a week over there. Like, it's insane, and what we have to work with. And that's when it comes to imported goods. Like, I'm a tech guy. Like, computer parts, graphics cards are so expensive down here
Oh, I bet.
unless you wait a month after like release for our people to finally get it in stock. Because like
Mm.
shipping from Amazon takes like 2-3 weeks to get here, and I am in one of the more populated, like, I don't want to say more important, but more prominent pieces of the country.
Mhm.
Like when I lived back in bumfuck nowhere, it would take up to a month for Amazon to get to me.
Wow.
Which it's Amazon. They pretty much got that shit on lock. Shipping stuff across the world.
Yeah. So I'm curious, and it's funny that you talked about your parents going to Italy, and then trying to get a graphics card, and it's expensive. I spoke with a gentleman from Greece recently, and he was talking about how corrupt the government is, and I'm like, well, if it's so bad, and like you guys really aren't making money because you have X amount of expenses, like why not just leave the country? So I'm going to ask the same question to you. If it is pretty bad, pretty, hard. I shouldn't say pretty hard because you never said that, but if your currency is so weak compared to other currencies around the world, and it's hard for you to go on vacation and stuff, why not leave?
It all boils down to opportunity. It is one of the reasons why I'm chasing a degree, because me and two of the guys I met at uni, we just so happened to have the same plan, and we decided, hey, and we are friends. It's the guys I do the podcast with, so we decided let's just do it together. I want to, if all goes well, next year, around March, I'm moving to the Netherlands with Osu.
Oh, nice.
So I,
Netherlands is
I do
beautiful.
plan. Oh, it is a beautiful country, and weed is encouraged. So I'm kidding. I'm not a stoner.
Hey, I mean, to each his own. It's legal there, so I can't judge you.
Well, it's legal here too now.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Like
didn't know that.
as long as you do it on private property, you can do it.
Oh, that's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it is pretty nice.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: I'm always an advocate for as long as you aren't hurting anyone, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You know?
Yeah, I'm the same exact way. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, this is wrong. I'm like, here's the thing. First of all, I mean, like, why does it matter to you? Like, as long as it's not going to somehow come back and hit you in the face, you know what I mean? Like, if someone wants to go out and be gay or whatever the correct term is, like, I don't care. Like, I might have my views on it or whatever, but it's like, if you want to smoke weed, I don't care. If you want to go out and do hard drugs, of course, I'm going to discourage that because it's wrong. But as long as you're not hurting anyone, you can do whatever you want. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, no, pop off. It's been well,
Yeah.
you're as long as and here's the thing, and don't and another thing is don't judge me, and I will not judge you. Like if and don't shove things down my throat. Like here's the thing, and this is gonna sound insensitive, but I could not possibly care less what sexual orientation you are, what gender you see yourselves as, what drugs you choose to use, who you choose to associate with. I actually could not care less because it's not my business. As long as you don't come and yell at me that you're better than me for being gay or for being whatever, then we're not going to have any problems. Don't shove your lifestyle on my throat, and I won't shove mine down yours, and we can coexist peacefully and even be friends. Like,
Yeah.
one of my best, closest friends in high school was gay, and like, I honestly can tell you, didn't care because we're friends. I wasn't friends with a gay dude. I was friends with a dude who happened to be gay.
Yeah. No,
Like
I see what you mean.
that's the distinction there.
Yeah, the one, and I agree with you. I mean, like, I could care less, honestly. Like, the only thing that I will start arguing over is if you ask me for my opinion, I give you my opinion, and then you say that I'm wrong. And it's like, here's the thing. First of all, why does it matter if I'm some random person that you don't care about, and you ask me for my opinion, and I say, well, this is what it is, and then you get mad at me for it? Then what's the point of me even then what's the point of you asking almost? Like, here's the thing. I don't have to agree with you on everything. We can have our differences. We can disagree on stuff. That's kind of what makes us human, is having a difference of opinion. But as soon as you tell me that I'm wrong and then you try and persuade me, that's where I get defensive. Like, let's just say this. Let's just say, I'm not saying that I do or I don't, but let's just say, I'm 100% against weed. I think it's the worst thing in the world, the devil's lettuce, if you will. Like, I'm against it. And you ask me on my opinion about it, and I say, oh, like, I don't think that it's good, and I just leave it at, I'm like, that's just my opinion. And then you go and you're like, no, you're wrong. And then you start, attacking me over it. Then I'm like, shut up. Like, why does it matter if I believe it's wrong and you believe it's right? Like, it really shouldn't matter, because here's the thing. I mean, like, for all I know, we could we could be friends and we could, speak, until we die, kind of thing. But at the same time, it's like, it's just an opinion. Like, it shouldn't matter if I approve or disapprove. It's your choice ultimately. Like, are you that insecure about yourself and your decisions or who you are, or whatever it is, that the opinion of some random stranger is going to bother you over the choices that you are making? Like, it shouldn't. If you want to make that choice, it's your choice. It shouldn't matter if I agree or disagree with it. And that's the thing that I really don't like when it comes to a lot of issues that are talked about nowadays. Like you said earlier, like, you don't care, and I don't care either about your orientation or your gender, whatever it is. I could care less. The thing that really irks me about it, though, and really bothers me, is when people are like, someone will say, like, oh, like, good on you, like, I don't agree or whatever, but good on you. And then they're like, why don't you agree? And then they just attack this person. I'm like, it shouldn't matter what that random person thinks. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I think, and this is a touchy subject, but I think the best, and I'm not going to take a stance on it because no matter what stance I take, I'm not going to publicly take a stance. The trans thing that's been going on, I have never seen people, like, someone just saying, hey, you do you. I'm not going to stop you. I personally believe that if you are born a man, that is what you are. You can identify whatever you want, but biologically, you'll still be a man. But if you want to identify as a woman, I'll respect your pronouns and such. Just for me, it's not going to change. Then they just go off, and I mean that's a respectful way to put it. Like, okay, like I've seen this. Someone say this. I'm seeing someone say, "I'll still respect your pronouns." Like, and to your face, I won't call you a he when you identify as a she or whatever, but he still got fucking torn apart.
Yeah.
And what I feel is he was being very respectful, and he was asked. He didn't just chime in. Like
Yeah.
if you ask for someone's opinion, I don't feel you can get angry at them for giving the opinion unless they do something like defend pedophiles. Then you can get angry because then they're just a piece of shit human being. But
Yeah, like I'll give you an actually kind of funny story. You know, like I said, I used to stream a little bit, and there was this one guy who would come in rather regularly, and he was somewhat of a nice guy. You know, like I considered him a cool guy, and he streamed too, so I'd support him back and forth. And he comes in one day, and I was having a bad day, right? Like I just wasn't doing good. Like my head wasn't there. I was kind of just playing at that point. He comes in, he's like, hey, like what's going on? And I explained it to him, and I got a little heated, not at him per se. I was just getting heated because, I was really stressed and under a lot of pressure, and I gave him my opinion. He's like, well, I don't agree with anything you just said, so I'm going to go bye. And I was like, are you serious right now? Like, you're going to leave because I just pretty much like opened up to you and told you how I feel about what is going on? And here's the thing, hear me out. He never asked me about my opinion on the matter. He just asked me what's going on, and I kind of opened up, and I was like, oh, like, this is just my opinion, He's like, I don't agree with any of that, goodbye. And I was like, seriously? I mean, to be fair, he never asked, whatever. But it's just like, people are so dumb that if they don't agree with your opinion, it's almost like you're Satan to them, or like you're some sort of bad person to where they just have to get away because you don't see the same thing they do. And it's just ridiculous. Like, and like you said earlier about the whole trans thing, it's like, if you want to do that, like, I don't care. It's not like, who am I to tell you what you want to do? And like I said, or like you said, I'm not going to take a stance either, just because it's like, it is what it is. Like, you can go on one side and get crucified and go on the other side and get crucified. It's almost like, why does it matter at this point? But I've never seen a community, rather than that community, attack people over them saying like you said, I'll still support you, I'll still use your pronouns or whatever it is, but then it's like, I just don't agree with it, and then they just get crucified. And it's like, why does that matter? Why are you so insecure with who you are? And here's the thing, if you're a dude and you become a female or whatever, and you're still insecure enough to the point of where you're going to slaughter someone because they might not agree with the choices that you made, I don't think you were ever secure in the first place. You were never okay with going from one to the other. Like, you're still the same thing. You just made a choice. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it's a big thing. I mean, I do know of one more aggressive community, the K-pop community. Fuck's sake. No, you don't understand. Pretty sure those people are insane.
Oh,
you
bet.
cannot say something bad about K-pop. I don't have a following on Twitter. I almost want to put money on it that if I go and say something bad about K-pop, and not even, I can say, hey, I don't really enjoy K-pop that much.
Mm-hmm.
I would get torn apart. Like, it's those people are so passionate, and I just wonder if they directed this amount of energy at anything else, they could take over the world. Like, honestly, it's a scary force, and I don't get scared by much on the internet. I've been desensitized to nearly everything. Like, I mean, this is gonna sound very cringe when I say it, but I mean, you're talking to someone who like browses 4chan, Reddit, all the fucking back alleys of the internet. No, I've seen my fair share of shit. I've seen the Jar Man, Two Girls, One Cup. I've seen fucking if it's a snuff film on the internet, chances are that I've unfortunately probably seen it. Because curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back.
Yeah.
And I have not seen a force as fucking scary as K-pop stands.
Really?
Yeah, and the worst part is the fan cams. Okay, let me feel this. How would you feel about, whenever a artist goes on, like a singer goes on stage, their every move gets recorded just so people can use it as reaction GIFs? That's creepy, right? That's
yeah, that is weird, yeah.
I mean, if you record like a few seconds of the concert, that's fine. But if you record everything just so you can catch a few, they do that. It's called fan cams. And they obsessively record everything of their K-pop god or goddess, and just... I cannot understand this community. And it's one
Uh-huh.
of the reasons, like, I'm not a huge fan of K-pop. I don't mind it. There's very few music that I mind, but it's not my first choice in music.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
no, I get you, and I've never really gotten into K-pop. My brother is actually into Japanese city pop, which is totally different and much more chill. It's actually very nice to just kind of listen to when you're like playing a game or something. I listen to it a decent amount just because it's it's almost kind of like a mix between light jazz, very light rock, and pop. It's actually really catchy. I would encourage you to
yeah.
look it up. But I've never seen K-pop fans like that. Like that's I mean, they can do whatever they want, but that's just weird to me. Like, why would you film an entire thing just to make reaction gifs? I mean, that's weird.
It is weird, and like
So strange to
they
me.
they they obsess over these characters, and I sometimes feel sorry for these people who
Yeah,
act. The faces behind the names, because they can't have normal lives. One girl who was huge in K-pop had to openly come out and apologize for having a boyfriend because it kind of broke the because the women in K-pop need to be advertised as these pure virgin girls, who are into you and just you. It's weird, but that's what they need to do, and it's so sad that she had a
yeah.
boyfriend. Something that's just an average experience, have being in a relationship, and she had to come out and publicly apologize for letting it slip to people that she was in a relationship, which
Yeah,
is
that's too far to me. That's way too far. If you have to apologize for a total normal thing that's going on, then I think that that community has overstepped its boundary by tenfold.
no, it's always something like, and a few people have made very good videos about this. People form very bad relationships with content creators. People people who would say, "Oh, you saved my life" and all that. Listen, no, they didn't. The content saved your life, and it's something that people need to realize. It is very unhealthy to form these parasocial. I can't talk today.
You're good.
Parasocial relationships with these online personas. Like, here's the thing, and it is a weird thing because I'm gonna take I'll take PewDiePie because he's the biggest name out there.
Hmm.
You see hours and hours of PewDiePie content. You get exposed to a lot of him. He most likely has never seen anything of you. And this isn't some because he doesn't want to, but to him you are a number on a screen, and you can't be anything more. He has 50, no, he has 100 million subscribers.
Yeah,
How can he know? He can't know 100 million people.
yeah,
It's the same thing with any big persona. They cannot. And I mean, I know a lot of people say they love their fans, and it's true. You can feel appreciation towards your fans. I feel like I don't personally know those two regulars I have, but I appreciate them.
yeah.
I really am thankful, and I'm thankful to them. But I can't say that I love them because I don't know them, and even that increases tenfold and hundredfold with the bigger people. They cannot know you and they cannot love you. They feel nothing for you, not because they don't want to, but because they can't. And
Mm.
it is bad. It puts them in such a shitty position if you have such an obsession with them.
Yeah,
Like,
because and I agree with you because here's the thing. Let's just say I was fanboying over you and you were literally, like my life or whatever because I just loved your content or whatever and I had this super weird, relationship to you. Then if you would probably feel that pressure to where if you did something that I wasn't okay with and I got mad, you would feel the need to apologize, almost like these K-pop stars. And it's like, you shouldn't feel like that. Like, that's one, incredibly unhealthy because not only are you disconnecting yourself from reality, you're just, connecting yourself with an idea more than anything. And then the other thing is like, what are you doing? Like, you're not doing anything. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, it's toxic to see.
It
And
really
no,
is.
and what most people, I know what most people mean when they say, "Hey, I love this guy," like I love PewDiePie. They mean they love the content.
Yeah.
But there are people who have. I mean, yeah, it's completely fine to say, "Hey, listen, this content really helped me through some tough times. This person's content helped me. I was in a bit of a rut. Having this to come to every day. Watching this. I mean, I'm one of those people. I don't know if you know about Unis Honest.
Yeah, that was fun.
I loved it. And that was something, I mean, with the whole quarantine and everything, that was something I looked forward to every day. Every day, 10 p.m. sharp, my time is when that video dropped. And it was something I got excited for. And that content helped me. Like, hey, you know what? Yeah, it's a shit here, but at least we have Unis on us for now.
Yeah.
We have Unis on us.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's fine. But don't say, oh, Mark, Mark saved my life. He is my idol, and it's such a thin line because role model is fine, idol is not. Like saying, hey, I see Mark, he works hard. I would like to be like that someday. That's fine. Saying Mark is my idol, I have to be him, or he is everything. That's bad, and there's a thin line there that you can't. Again, I'm gonna bring up Critical because he makes music, and one of his songs is called Obsession. First of all of the music that he makes slaps more than it has any right to do. Mm-hmm. It's really good, but I highly recommend people go look this up. The song and you go watch the music video. It's Obsession. You can just Google Obsession Critical or Obsession the Gentleman because that's the band's name, and you'll find it. And it is about this kind of, it's about a guy in a female Twitch streamer's chat having that obsession with her, which, again, super, super unhealthy.
Yeah. That's
not the way you do it. Spoilers for the fucking music video, but the song is just, also, sorry, I need to say this. If you go listen to the song, the part after you hear the Discord ping, that bit is taken almost word for word from a moderator of a female Twitch streamer with that he told her, messages that he sent her because she had a husband and she didn't openly say it. And then she got caught and this fucking moderator went wild.
Wow.
And he was not happy. But yeah, it's a good song, and it's especially with the music video, it gives you insight into what the worst case scenario of this kind of thing. And it really is the worst case scenario because obsession leads to stalking, and it's such a thin line.
Yeah,
it's such an easy thing to cross, because here's the thing: if I find a famous person's home address, I'm not gonna lie, I'd be tempted to go say hi, but I wouldn't because that's I'd be like, I have this address, I can go say hi, but then I say, okay, no, tear it up, throw it away. That's invading their privacy. If it was someone I was really obsessed with, like Scarlett Johansson, I have since I was like 12, I had a celebrity crush on Scarlett Johansson, and by now it's a meme in my life. Because everyone around me knows. Yeah, if it was Scarlett Johansson, like, okay, she lives here, which means she'll probably shop at that supermarket. So I'll change supermarkets to that one and hope I run into her one day. That's as far as I'd push it. I wouldn't go like stalking the streets, trying to force a run in.
Yeah.
But, it's these people. They will and it's something that it worries me, and I don't know why, because I don't know anybody big on Twitch like that. But I worry that one day I'm gonna read a news headline about like a female Twitch streamer who was broken into her house, and she was fucking killed or raped by a fan who somehow got her address. Because these people, they're desperate and they're sad and they're lonely and they might just do it. And that this isn't insulting to them. It's something that they need to hear. They need to get help.
Yeah.
They need to not have that kind of... being a fan is fine, but you cannot be obsessed. And on the same train, you cannot ship people because it almost always damages the relationship between them.
Yeah.
Fuck, I had a lot to rant about. Sorry.
Nah, you're all good. It's stuff that I feel a lot of people need to hear because, a lot of people are still stuck in quarantine. Most of us should be. You're sitting inside. You really can't do anything. So what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to watch videos or I'm going to play games or, and then you start to get attached to these people. And I think that that's a very valid thing to say. There are a lot of just really sad people. I'll say it like this. There are a lot of people who are very into internet personas and that becomes their life and they're consumed with it. I can't tell you how many times I've been in chats of different big Twitch streamers and they're like, I'm going to kill myself if you don't say hi to me. Or, they're desperate enough to say, well, today was my last day. If you guys don't see me again, I killed myself. And I'm just like, I don't want to be rude, but how dumb do you have to be to try and gain attention like that? Like, if you're that desperate, call your friends, call your parents, call your brother or sister, go talk to a roommate. If you live by yourself, maybe get like an emotional support. Like it's just going on the internet to say that you're going to do something like that is not the way to do it. That's not how it works. You don't do that, because a lot of the times people just skip over it. And it's not because they don't care, but imagine how many times, if you're a big internet star, imagine how many times people say that to you. And imagine how many times those are, just a bunch of, crap, and it's a fluke just to try and get a reaction out of you. It's just so dumb, the lengths that people will go to, try and get some sort of recognition. Or like you said, if they somehow get their address, it's like, well, now they're being stalked. It's so weird how internet personas or internet people or just influencers on the internet have come, and the amount of popularity that they have gained to the point of where people will stalk them, or somehow hack them to gain an upper hand on them, or do something to mess with them just to get a high or just to get a hello, because that's their life. It's so strange to me. I've never understood it. I can understand liking someone a lot. Like there are people that I will gravitate towards more, because I enjoy their content, or I enjoy, just hanging out with them as a person because they're a nice person. But like, I don't obsess with people. It's not like I would say probably one of my, I'm a big soccer fan. Football. I really like football. I hate saying soccer, but sometimes people don't understand that I'm trying to, say football. And anyway, so I'm a big football fan, right? And one of my favorite players is Andre Pirlo, if you know who he is. And it's not like I would stalk him, like he's definitely like an idolized player. He was so good back in the day, and I loved watching him play. But it's not like I'm gonna, stalk him and try and hack his phone and find out his address, just because I'm an incredibly big fan of his. It's not like that's gonna happen. You can like someone and enjoy someone and quote unquote idolize them because you want to try and strive to be like them to an extent, but you can't let that idea of who they are consume you. That's just weird to me, man. I've never understood that.
Yeah, it's like the thing is, there's a difference between that and like just being like, if I ever met someone like Keanu Reeves or Critical or someone like that,
True.
I'd be hype as fuck and like, hey, can I take a picture with you? And I'd be excited, but that's the extent. Afterwards, like, that was cool. I won't follow them home. You need to not do that.
Yeah.
You need to. That's one of the things. Like, if I ever get big, it's something that is in the back of my mind, that if I hit the lottery and I somehow make a success out of any of this, you don't really have a private life. But on the same coin, on the same side of the coin, people need to realize the persona that they see on any person's channel or stream is just that. It's a persona. It's a character. PewDiePie doesn't act the way he does in front of camera all the time. That is aspects of his personality. Yes, same with any of these big people. Those are aspects of their personality, but those are the aspects that they choose to show you. That isn't how they act when the camera isn't on. At least not always if the camera isn't on. They're different people, and that's why they say never meet your heroes, because they are not what you think. They are not what you think they are.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Like I said, I'm a big football fan. I'm a big Chelsea supporter, and I've been to Stamford Bridge before, and I've seen some of the players that I thought, were these like huge names. I mean, like they are big names, in the game, but I was able to, like come face to face with them pretty much and meet them, and they're just people. Like that whole idea of, being surrounded in glory or, being mystified or something like that, like they're just people. Like I don't want to, of course, downplay what they have done for club and country and the sport itself, but you meet some of these people and it's like, oh, you're just another person. It's just like if I went down the street and met Bob, except, Leonardo DiCaprio is, much more famous than Bob, because he's a well-acclaimed actor. Yeah. And, he's won whatever award it is. I can't remember the name of the award, but, like he's done a lot of stuff, but they're still human. It's just like, I wish more people would understand that. Like, there's no harm, like you said, in meeting them and being, super hype about it. That's somewhat normal, but it's a person. Are you going to try and deify them? Like, I don't think so.
No, just to break it down more, we ran into one of the most famous rugby players in the country in a pharmacy when I was like 13 or 14. Like that just they live normal lives. It was
Yeah.
legit. We were just walking. We were in a different city. We were just walking in the mall, and we were like, we weren't even in the pharmacy. We were just walking by, and my dad's like, "Hey, that's the guy."
Yeah.
And we like, oh yeah, that's the guy. And my brother actually went and met him. I didn't because I'm not a fan of sports, so I don't really follow.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't really got anything, but it was and it's just they just live life, and it's just normal people who happen to have a following or who
Exactly.
happen to do these things. Yeah, it's always something that people need to realize, and treat others the way you wish to be treated. You wouldn't
Exactly.
like to have a stalker, so don't stalk. You wouldn't like if someone tried to blackmail you by saying, "Hey, I'm gonna kill myself if you don't do X." You wouldn't like it, so don't do it to another person.
Exactly. All right. So I'm sorry to kind of cut it right there, but I am going to ask one last question for sake of time. And this question I like to ask everyone who comes on the show because regardless of age, I feel like a lot of people just have really good advice that they like to give. Some people have given some great advice and some people have given some not so great advice, at least to me, but that doesn't mean that it's not great for someone else. Like advice can be taken across, so many different avenues and stuff, and everyone can perceive it differently. So what would be though a piece of advice that you would like to give to someone who's listening, that has maybe helped you in the past, or maybe it's something that your father told you or something like that you've just really held on to?
This is something that comes from my late grandpa. If we've all heard the advice, shoot your shot. If you miss every shot you don't take,
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to do that. But what he told me is, if you're stuck at a decision and both choices are equally good or equally bad, and there isn't an obvious better one, pick the one that's going to lead to the better story to tell one. Because in the end, that is what you are doing as you live your life. You are making memories. So if you're ever at a crossroads and you can't decide what to do, pick the choice that will leave you with a better story to tell. Because especially if it's a choice you need to make where both outcomes are going to be bad, at least choose the one that's going to lead to an entertaining story to tell later so you can laugh about it. That is very good advice in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I actually really like that. I've never heard someone say that before, or say it in a way that makes sense. That was really good. I like that. That's something I think I'm going to take because I haven't thought about life like that. That's interesting. I like that a lot. Well, thanks, Brenden, for coming on. Thank you for staying up so late. Because it's probably just after 4 o'clock in the morning for you.
Yeah, it's 4:07 as we speak.
Oh my gosh, that's nuts, man. Thanks for doing that. That's really cool of you. I don't think I've spoken to anyone where it's that early in the morning for them, and I haven't spoken to anyone until now that's from South Africa. Like in general, I don't think I've ever spoken to a South African in my entire life besides right now. So that's really cool. I'm very honored. It was so much fun to learn.
Here, man.
Yeah. I really suck at ending these things, so I'll say this. Like sometimes I just go on and on and on, but if you would like to have a guest on your podcast, I'd be more than happy to come on. You're a pleasant guy to talk to. I really did enjoy this. I would love to chat with you and your buds for a little bit,
Sure.
but
we are scheduled. That post got a lot of response. I more than I realized, but we're scheduled up until like the 7th. But you are more than welcome to come on. You have been a blast to talk to.
Yeah, I mean, just shoot me an email with some times, that work for you because of our time difference. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
But yeah, shoot me an email and I would love to do that. Real quick, I'm just curious, because you live in South Africa, do you speak the native language? I would assume so, yeah?
Yes, I do.
Can you say something in that language? What language is it, first of all?
Afrikaans.
Afrikaans. Can you speak something? I don't know, just whatever you want.
You need to tell me something to say here, man. Otherwise, I don't have anything.
Yeah. Can you say thank you for listening to this episode of Across the Pond?
Okay. Sorry, I need to get the name here.
Yeah, of course.
Fuck, pond is a weird word here. Let me. I got it. Dankie dat julle geluister het na hierdie episode van Oor kan die pond. No, wait. Oor kan die plas. There it is. Sorry, I fucked it up.
Dude, that was freaking cool. I love that language. Oh, that's so cool. That's so neat. It was so funny, and I'm so sorry. I'll say this and I'll let you go because it is early. I was listening to a podcast.
I can stay. I've already got my second wind. I don't think I'm going back to sleep.
I was listening to a podcast this morning, and one of the ladies that was brought on was actually from South Africa, and she spoke Afrikaans. And so, do you say it with like a little emphasis at the end, like Afrikaan?
It's okay. First of all, I know this is something weird, but the R is rolled, which
I can't do that.
I know. It's something that people. It's a good party trick to pull out with people, with Americans. The fact I can do it, I can do it really. We just learn how to do that at a young age because that's our language.
Yeah.
I know. It's just Afrikaans. It's just how it is.
Yeah, I can't roll my R, so I guess I won't try and say that again. It's just
Afrikaans.
That's really cool. And dude, that's so neat. Thank you so much for doing this and, chatting with me for an hour. That was so much fun, and thanks for saying that too. I'm definitely going to use that as like a thing. I think what I'm going to do. And
can I get you a proper soundbite where I don't fuck it up then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Dankie dat julle geluister het na hierdie episode van Oor kan die Plas.
Dude, that's so freaking cool. I think what I'm going to start doing is people that speak a different, or like they're able to speak a different language from the country that they're from, I'm going to have them start saying that, and I'm going to start clipping it and continually adding that to the end of each episode. I think I'm going to start doing that.
That would actually be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty. I like that idea. They're going to start doing that. So you're the first one. So thank you.
No problem.
Oh man, awesome, sweet. Well, I hope you can enjoy the rest of your early morning. I guess I don't know if you're going to go to sleep or not, but whatever you decide to do,
I'm gonna try.
All right, dude. I hope you sleep well then. Thanks again for doing this. This was honestly a blast. And then shoot me an email if you want to guest, and I'll be more than happy to try and work something out. Maybe I'll stay up super late for you guys.
Well, you won't have to stay up too late. We usually record at like 9 p.m. our time, so it's 7 hours earlier than it is now.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Well, I'll definitely try and figure something out, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on.
Awesome. Man. Yeah, of course. It was a blast. Enjoy your night and sleep well.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Across the Pond.
Dankie dat julle geluister het na hierdie episode van Oor kan die Plas.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Across the Pond.
Muchas gracias por escucharnos el podcast de Across the Pond.
Vielen Dank, dass du Across the Pond angehört hast heute Abend.
Merci d'avoir écouté à cet épisode de Across the Pond.
Thank you for listening to this episode of of Across the Pond.
That was good. I kind of got you there. I was wondering if you were going to do it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Across the Pond. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to connect with me, you can find me on Twitter at KingServant, and that's KINGSSERVANT. You can also find the audio version on YouTube. There's no video, just audio. You can type in the search bar Across the Pond, and you'll find us with a picture of the lily pad. If you want to support us monetarily, you can find us on Patreon. Each tier has its own rewards, so please check that out if you want to throw some money my way, but please don't feel like you have to. I do this because I thoroughly enjoy it. I don't do this for money. If you know someone that would love to be on the show, go ahead and send them my email, acrossthepondpod01@gmail.com, and that's it. That's all you got to do. After that, I got to do all the hard work. But I would appreciate it if you could spread the word a little bit. Tell your friends, tell your family, say, hey, I found this really cool podcast that I think you'll like. The host talks to people from all around the world about anything. Tune in next Sunday and every other Thursday for another awesome episode of Across the Pond.